mothers are carrying the biggest, it gives me full body chills, the biggest medicine for our world because they're carrying, literally carrying in the seeds of consciousness for what is going to be coming next into our world in our bodies, and then birthing that through our bodies, and then loving that and seeing it so intimately. And then if we're able to like really be present in those first weeks and months with our baby and like tune into that, oh my God, we just we like soak up all of that juiciness, and then we're just like medicine bundles in the world. But so much of our world does not see birth and motherhood and postpartum like that, and then doesn't mirror back our medicine, and so we think we are not medicine carriers.
Hello and welcome to Emanate. I am your host, Em Quiver, and today we get to hear from the deep well of Kate West. Kate is a mother of 4. She's a song receiver and weaver, a ritualist, and a postpartum doula who lives in Austin, Texas. And you can find her work at innerhum.earth, and the link is in the show notes. And in our inspiring and tender conversation, Kate spins yarn through story, and she generously shares some of her medicine songs with us that I know will deeply move you. Enjoy! I'm so grateful to be with my dear sister, Kate West, across different time zones. And Kate, wow, I was reflecting, we got connected from our mutual friend, Rhea Bourne, 2019?
I think so, yeah. Mhm.
Amazing matchmaker she is, because she's like, "You need to meet Kate."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I do.
I do.
I don't know why, but I trust you." And she just shared, and it's true that you have such medicine for mamas
Mm.
and women. And so I'm so grateful for your time today. And just in this moment, how are you arriving?
Hmm. Yeah, I what comes to mind in this moment is step by step,
Wow.
which I feel is how I've had to learn to live as a mother because there's so many things our mind wants to do that are just not possible. And this morning was a really great example of that to arrive here. There were a lot of things to do and then so many, like 100 other things I wanted to do. Well, not 100, but maybe 5. And and yet I have to just let go of that and trust that I'm touching what's most essential, and here I am. And
Hmm.
so I'm bringing all of me into this moment with you, Em, and really grateful to be here. I'm just calling all my energy back from dropping off from where my kids are, and you know how our tendrils go out into the world when they're not next to us, and grateful and delighted to be here having this conversation, and in like wonder of what will come. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna talk about exactly. Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Step by step.
Mhm. Step by step.
Yeah. And all the steps to get to this moment. So acknowledging your family
Mhm.
and just all the behind the scenes things to arrive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And how about you?
Same. Like I'm navigating morning morning time of so many things, so many logistics after going from dream time.
Mm.
And like as we know, it's such a luscious, important portal
Mhm.
to want to gather messages. And so I was transitioning from lots of dreams to then the stream of all the needs
Yeah.
coming and
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
yeah, to get to here, and then just before we got on together, just feeling into, like, the prayer of this time together, also trusting. And, like, the other as I've been preparing for these podcasts, I've written questions, but the more and more I'm like, "Well, I wanna trust the intelligent emergence that's gonna come forth," and there's so many threads,
Mhm,
as we were just sharing, that we can weave together here, and
mhm,
just even in that topic of weaving, as I know you've been
mhm,
doing lately,
mhm.
and what an ancient practice that we do in modern times in all these ways, the invisible threads like you just mentioned. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, anything you wanna bring in about weaving?
Well, yeah, one piece that comes to mind is something Michael Meade, who's one of my mentors and beloved elders in the world and song teachers, carriers. One thing that I've heard him say is that the reason we practice meditation, singing, storytelling, breath work, dream work, all of these things, having conversations like this, is it slows down the stream of information coming in because there's so much coming in all the time. And so
Mhm,
I feel that sitting here with you and just in life, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many things. What do I pay attention to? What do I focus on? And when we sit and we breathe and we sing or we weave or using our hands, what it slows time down
mhm,
for us to be able to digest what's coming in and focus and integrate that. And so when it comes to weaving, I'm really new to weaving, like literally with my hands. And I took a course with Hana Lei called We Are the Weavers.
mm,
And just finished last week. And it was song and weaving. And when I saw the offering, I knew I needed to take it. It was like, this is the time. I just turned 45 in January. And oh my gosh, for 6 years, I've been knowing I needed to bring the weaving into my hands, and, I received a song in 2019, kind of the time we met. It was in June of that year from a spider that was sitting on my shoulder, and this whole song came through, and I was like, "Where did that come from?" And then I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it came from that spider that was sitting right here," like, literally just and it's all about weaving and, um, that when we weave together, um anyway, I can share the song at some point if you wanna hear it.
yes, absolutely. I have chills as you're
Um,
sharing, like, yes, please.
but it talks about weaving wonder back into the world,
Ah,
and I've been so that has been oh my gosh, there's so many places I could go with that, but the songs and these messages coming from beyond and coming from all around us and from within us and from the dream time and from the spiders and the waters and the owls and the trees and they're just all there all the time if we're listening. Um,
mhm,
I just so much of the time we're in our heads as humans and thinking, 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 and really missing what's happening in the present moment. When I create a structure, mental structure around it, it's like boxing in the potential of what could happen. And so I really intend in this conversation, I'm not in my head.
yeah,
We're weaving with what is here in the space between us.
yeah,
Um, and that feels really alive. What are the threads that feel most alive? And so just to come back for a moment to I was told by a Dene elder in 2020 that I needed to bring the weaving into my hands. And so for 6 years, I've been looking, is it making baskets? Is it knitting? Is it crocheting? What is it? And then having life and many children and not feeling like I could prioritize it. And this year I was like, I must learn to weave. And then this course came like right there just and I'm like, "I must sign up. This is I need to do this." So, it's been a really beautiful, um, integration. I don't know where it's gonna go. I'm like,
Yeah.
I learned to spin yarn, like, not just of my words, which is they say spinning yarn is a way of telling a story, but literally, like, take wool and turn it into yarn, and then take the yarn and spin it, and I made this little tapestry that, is woven from some of the wool that came, from Dartmoor from the teacher, from England, and then some of the threads of these blankets that I put down for the mama circles and,
Mm.
that have been, like, unraveling from the the warp, um, the warp, which is the male masculine structure of it, and then you weft into the warp, with the feminine, like,
Wow.
so there's, like it's so beautiful, and, like, I'm just beginning, so that's I love being a beginner again, because I feel like so many of the things I do on a daily basis, I have some mastery or repetitive relationship with, and it's so beautiful to be like, "Oh, I don't know how to do this at all." It's really, really fun.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is so there's so many golden
Mhm.
threads here.
So many.
And well, weaving I love how you talked about slowing down and how Michael Meade talks about that ability to then enter to me, it's like that those different altered states that children are in and mamas enter with birth, and I was just at this incredible hot spring place called Brighton Bush and bumped into a friend from Seattle where we met at a Michael Meade solstice event. I don't know if I've told you this, how
No.
I met Michael Meade.
No.
So just this thread of what you brought in already of slowing down. Um, so then how I met Michael Meade to get invited to this solstice event back in 20, I
Oh,
don't
no, I
even
am remembering this. I am
yeah.
That's such a good story. You have to tell the story.
Well,
So
it's just wild because I just bumped into this friend who he's fascinating too, and we were talking about Michael's teaching of time and going from Chronos to Kairos.
yeah.
But just that this little thread of, oh gosh, I was training a lot with Lyra, the aerial hoop at the time, and it was probably what, 2016, and just like, really going for it, and my knee was not having it, and so I started to have my knee kind of go out, and I was walking to teach a yoga class in Seattle, and my knee gave out in the parking lot, and I see this gentleman come up and ask if I needed help, and I was hobbling, and then I look and I'm like, "Oh, you're Michael Meade. I love your work. I've seen you at the Bioneers," and he goes, "What's happening here?" And I tell him, he's like, "Why do you have your knee going out at this age?" And so it was this funny interaction that led to the invitation to that event that I went to with Rhea. Back to Rhea. She's a master weaver
Yes.
of connections. And so to me, it was like, oh, my knee was telling me,
Mhm.
you gotta slow down.
Yeah, slow down. Mhm.
You gotta slow down. And then you can start to see all like had I not slowed down,
Mm,
I would not have made that connection
mhm,
which would have led to these other threads.
mm.
So, yeah.
I love that. I love too that nothing's wrong, going
Right.
back to your knee giving out and you could have, like, completely contracted and been like, "Oh my god, what's wrong?" And then, like, missed him even coming up to you, like, I'm really aware of the places I was hosting an event at my house on Friday for the equinox. It was a clothing swap and a mama makers market. So inviting women from the community who are makers to bring their crafts and to share the wealth of our clothes and like shed from winter into spring. it was amazing, and I had a huge contraction right before it. It was, like, at the very end of my menstrual cycle where you're just like, I'm just spent. I have nothing to give here." And what was beautiful about that is I just was able to I went through the contraction with Kyle, and he's like, "Oh, you're just in that place again. Remember? Remember this place? That's okay." 'Cause he's
Mm,
such a beautiful mirror and kind, compassionate. This is my partner, my beloved, my husband, my
mm,
mochi. And he is just, like, mirroring back to me that this is okay. You're feeling this.
mm,
Nothing is wrong. Nothing is happening here. This is just
yeah.
the contraction before the expansion, and it's okay. And then it just took like 5 minutes. It didn't take me out. But then I was able to really step back and allow others to step in and be like, I'm not going to organize this whole thing. I'm not going to um, push things to be a certain way. I'm gonna trust the community to
Mm,
organize, to, like, self-organize, and it
wow.
was amazing. I, like, didn't go outside until it started, and people arrived, and they were helping, and I was just like, I can't even go outside. I'm not gonna go out until it's, like, ready." And then I went out, and I was like, "Wow, there's, like, a festival in my backyard." Just
That's
there was, like,
amazing.
tents and tons of people and children and dads, and it was just like it was, incredible, and what it's pulling on that thread for me in, like, where I am in my hormonal cycle, just in the larger cycle, having turned 45 and, had a baby at 42
Mhm.
3 years ago, in the summer, it will be 3 years, so 2.5 years ago. And now I'm, like, really in that awareness of perimenopause, and I'm in this awareness I heard on this beautiful Medicine Stories podcast, with this Australian elder talking about our cycles and how when we hit menopause, it's the harvest of our lifestyle up to that point.
Wow.
And I was just like, "Wow, okay. I want to have a really beautiful harvest, and I
Mm,
have a few more years before that hits, and it's starting I'm starting to feel it really in this, like, like, in between time.
mhm.
If I weren't paying attention to my body as much as I do, I probably wouldn't notice it at all because I'm still bleeding very regularly, but I'm just like, "Something is changing." I feel something subtle, and then what's really shifting is my unwillingness to overgive
Ugh.
and overextend and push beyond the limit. What I hear in your knee is like, when we're younger, our bodies and we think we can just like push our physical selves
Mhm.
to the point of exhaustion and it's fine. And then we become a mother.
Yeah.
And that's a whole thing. And like we can unwrap this package in like the layers of it. There's so much there about mothers and overgiving and the cultural
Mhm.
constructs around that, and then the real, like, what I feel is the natural orientation of a mother is to receive,
Mm,
um,
yes.
not to give. And so we go from well, let me just say, I also on this podcast heard a couple threads I just wanna bring in because 'cause they're really important and really lighting up for me. She said estrogen is the hormone of self-sacrifice. So
Wow.
when that hormone starts coming on board for young women, my daughter is 13 and a half, and going into that, it's so beautiful. She's entering the path of womanhood as I am moving into the path of queendom or
Mhm.
elderhood.
Mm,
And some say that begins at 47. Um, but I feel us on this like these parallel paths, but I'm on one side and she's on the other. of this like 40-year period of bleeding, 40 about 40 years. And so I'm just so aware of when that estrogen starts coming on board. And then she said progesterone is it like puts a lid on things. It's like, when we're ovulating and we're like, oh, everything is fine. Oh, it's good. I've got this. Everything's good. I can do it. And then when that progesterone goes around week 3, um, and we're like, "No!" Like, it's like, "No," the lid comes off again, right? And so I'm just watching, like, her, this is gonna these cycles that start happening of being, like, chemically wired in a way to serve others and be and contain ourselves. And then as I'm that's, like, leaving my system more and more, I'm watching this freedom coming on board inside myself and this, like, this, like, wild
Yes.
that's starting to unleash and also this unwillingness to override my needs, my physical needs starting here for
Mhm.
the sake of others' well-being.
Wow. This is brilliant. This is um, the need for matriarchy,
Mhm.
and that there is this indigenous wisdom I've been hearing that when women have moved to that season where they're no longer bleeding, then that's where they're holding that wisdom inside, and then that's why they're there to make the decisions
Yes.
by staying in that receiving queenly, wise elder place. So, wow, Kate, thank you for bringing this in.
Mm. Yeah. And I'm not there yet. I'm not in that place, but I'm bridging between. And then my work, I work as a postpartum doula, meaning I go into people's homes and I'm with them, moving through the emotional, the mental, the physical landscapes of early postpartum, helping them navigate sibling dynamics or how to like expand to receive all this newness that's coming in, how to wrap themselves in warmth and love and support, how to ask for what they need in times of need, how to like move from the maiden, uh, who is this, like, contained seed that's just like, "Oh, I know who I am. I'm really sure who I am. I've got everything I need. Life is really simple in a way," like, to, like, that cracking open of that seed that happens when we become a mother, and then we're, like, exposed suddenly to the vast unknown, the fertile, rich
Mhm.
soil of the mother, and we're like, "Oh, whoa," I don't know who I am. I don't know what's up. I don't know what's down. I don't know where my body is. I don't know whose body this is. I don't even recognize myself anymore. My whole life has been like exploded from, the center out. It's like
Yeah.
and and how to reorient and then talking about weaving again, like I support mothers to like begin weaving their bodies and their psyches and their lives back together, like knitting them back together into a new whole
Mm,
that they can come back into the world and feel, not like "Blah," so raw and
yeah.
exposed like we do in those first weeks after giving birth. We're so open, so tender, so vulnerable.
Mhm.
So I love how going into that world with new mothers all the time, multiple times a week, and I'm going and being with these mothers in their intimate spaces, and it's such an honor to be invited in, trusted to be with them in that space, and then just there to support. And what I see is some of the biggest things for a new mother is like loss of identity,
Mhm.
No matter how many children you have, there's continued loss loss of who you were. You are not gonna be the same person, like, literally, your cells are different, your molecules are different, your brain is different, your body is different, and your soul is there still, and so it's like, how do I connect back in with that piece? And so then I have there's just so much in, I'm like, "Oh my god,
Mm.
what do I say?"
Well, I also trust that we can have multiple conversations,
I
Kate, because
know.
then there's also no limit for this one. So,
It's true. So, what I wanna say about what I'm seeing, this kind of pulls on the threads of rites of passage, and
mm,
so who Michael Mead, starting with Michael Mead, and then we'll come here again, which is so mothers, they go through this arc. This is what I've seen, and if you know anything about the hero's journey or Maureen Murdoch's heroine's journey, the arc of severance and initiation. So leaving the life that we knew, kind of cutting from the normal and going out or going in the case of birth, and then in
mm,
being initiated in the sacred portal of birth, like it is a doorway, a threshold that opens for us to receive our babies and for us to be transformed. And many see it in different ways, and like traveling out to the stars to like bring their baby down again, or people have all kinds of different experiences. And some people don't experience that at all, and yet something is happening energetically that is a gateway that we go through, and once we go through that, there's no going back again. And women know that, when labor begins, and you're like, oh, we I don't oh, I wanna get off this ride. I don't wanna be on this ride. And you're like, can someone where's the, like, off switch or, like, the exit button or the you know, when we begin, fearing the intensity of it, and what I've learned in now having 4 births, and I was fortunate to have enough trust and trusted guides and mentors around me to help me to focus, and have, uninterrupted, um, and no interventions in my births, all 4 of them, and I'm, like, incredibly grateful for that because it has built this trust in my body
mm,
and trust in the wisdom of how it wants to move and how the timing of it all, and I tend to just be a slow laborer and take my time, and when my mind I can't get involved. My mind cannot get involved in that. And so it's helped me to understand more about myself, like, I'm just a little slower, like,
mm.
I'm more of a turtle than a rabbit, I'm like the tortoise, I'm like, "We'll get there." But I can move. I've learned, how to move really fast in my youth, um, and be rewarded for that, and I feel as I'm getting older, I'm, like, embracing more of my turtle bear medicine and being like,
Mm,
"I wanna be slower. I wanna be more intentional." So,
mm.
what
Wow.
then continuing on this arc, this initiation happens, and everyone goes through that who has a birth, no matter the outcome of that birth. And then the third arc of that journey that I want to name is the return.
Mm,
And what doesn't happen so much of the time is the return.
mm,
So women have these powerful experiences that change their lives and their bodies and their beings forever, but the world outside doesn't mirror that back. That the humans, I wanna say the humans don't mirror that back because the other worlds are always mirroring that back if we're paying attention. then we can internalize that nothing big happened. Nothing important really happened. And then women who are carrying mothers are carrying the biggest, it gives me full body chills,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
biggest medicine for our world because they're carrying literally carrying in the seeds of consciousness for what is gonna be coming next into our world, in our bodies, and then birthing that through our bodies, and then loving that and seeing it so intimately, and then if we're able to, like, really be present in those first weeks and months with our baby and, like, tune into that, oh my god, we just we, like, soak up all of that juiciness, and then we're just like medicine bundles in the world, but so much of our world does not see birth and motherhood and postpartum like that, and then doesn't mirror back our medicine, and so we think we are not medicine carriers, and then that kinda, like, falls down. It goes
Mm.
unreceived, and then we're not returning. So then we have another severance and another we keep repeating that cycle of, like, I need to sever again and, like, start over, but it needs that completion, so I have the other aspect of my work are these circles, mother circles, and I call them mama baby song circles. Mama baby as like the one being in Swahili, they have a word mama toto, which is means mama baby. We don't have a word in English that is means the mother and baby are one being
Wow. That
because we
makes so
are.
yes.
And so the mother and baby one being and we're singing together and we're mothers are bringing there's a space for new mothers to come and bring their medicine back to the community and share their medicine, and I'm watching these mothers claim power
Mm.
and feel seen and heard on a deep level, and their lives, like, transforming, and I'm not doing that. I'm sharing tools, and I'm creating a space for them to do that in. But they're the ones doing it with each other, and I'm part of that, and I'm just like, that is an essential piece that
Mhm.
women mothers have a space to return to where they're a community where their medicine is being mirrored back.
Wow. I mean, just weeping with the reverence I hear in your voice and the beauty that you're claiming. And you're in Austin. And so these mama baby circles are in person there, and you also offer some online as well, is that right? And innerhum.earth is your amazing website. And even I mean, this is really landing obviously in this moment for me because I'm currently in this season. And so I'm not even able or want to hold back these tears because it feels so important for this moment, for anyone listening, any mom is listening, anyone listening, because we all come from a womb of this return, the return of honoring that medicine. Um, it just and I really honor your work and your words, your weaving through your words too, Kate, and your songs because even reading your quotes on your website, it just landed in my heart so deeply. Um, and so I'm just so inspired, and I said this before, I'm like, I want the women here in the gorge to receive this and, your medicine and that you're even holding this, like, ability to have witness to that journey, that deep inner journey and the return. And how have you been able to do that? Like yourself, like you've had 4 children, you've been in motherhood for 17 years,
Mhm. Mhm.
And you mentioned you've had these incredible women around you, and that's what brought me to tears reading your website of just the importance of having others who've gone through this initiation to be there, to witness, to hold, to support. But anything that you want to bring about your own personal journey of your return.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. I'm right here with you with that. The tenderness. I'm so grateful for your tears, and we could talk all about tears and why.
Yes, we can.
Oh, um, my own return. Well, you don't know what you don't know. And coming into motherhood, I came in as a single mother at 20. I was 27 when I got pregnant. Yeah. And I had my son at 28. So I didn't know shit of what I was doing or getting into at all. I knew that it was calling for me, and I did not wanna say yes to it. So I've said this many times, and I'll say it many times again, but I was not one of the women who wanted to always have children, or I was like, "No, I'm on a healing path, y'all. I'm gonna go to Chinese medicine school. I got my future figured out, right?" And then I find out I'm pregnant with my son. This is the short version, and I'm like, "Oh, huh, okay." And I'd had 2 previous pregnancies that I had consciously released because I did not feel ready, and there was something about this one and the timing of it, which was terrible timing according to my, like, ego and my mind, what I thought needed to happen, but my body said yes, and so I went into that, and it having Daniel, my son, who is now almost 17, he'll be 17 in April, um, completely changed my life, in every part. I like to say that having a child is like someone holding you upside down and shaking out all your pockets. Everything falls out, your earrings fall off, and any loose things just like go, and like anything you don't need to carry forward is just taken from you, because you don't have the capacity to carry it forward. And that has been a long journey that has been riddled with loneliness and depression and fatigue. And I think one of the things I want to name that really has come on board for me, and that I've written some about on Substack and um, shared with my community here, is like when we say yes to becoming a mother, we consciously or unconsciously step into the gateway of the ancestors. And we say, all that you have carried, all that have come before me, I stand now behind you, and I will clear and clean the lines for the children that come through me so they don't have to do that work. And I didn't know that when I came into motherhood. Nobody told me that. Nobody told me that, Em. Nobody said, "Hey, just so you know," they said, like, "You're never gonna sleep again." That was one of
Oh, yeah, that's true.
"You're never gonna sleep again." I got some really terrible advice. "You're gonna ruin your life." Um,
Oh my gosh.
uh, but what I did when that came on board, one of the programs in my line, which I believe is also a collective program, is that motherhood is a burden and that children are a burden. And when we become a mother, it creates poverty, like lack of resource, lack of time, lack of energy, lack of creativity, depletion, essentially. And that has been something that I have been on a mission to shift in my life. And it certainly did. Like it came in like, really hit me and hit my system. And I've had to unweave that tapestry that was created by well-meaning um, ancestors who came before me who were trying to protect me. in passing these codes down and been like, actually, I don't need that anymore. That's not the world we live in now. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. I bless and release all of that. Give it back to you and back to the earth. And so, what I will say, my return has really come from finding community, and
Mm.
specifically community that can meet me in the places of ritual and song and deep connection with the more than human world. And it wasn't really until I met the song carriers community and the whole praising earth community, and then the work Gabriella and I did together here in Austin, and that th- that I began to feel my return. And so
Mm.
that wasn't until 2018. I had my first son in 2009. So
Wow.
it took 9 years, and then I had 2 more children, one in 2012 and one in 2014, Rosalie and Gabriel, who are now 13 and 11, and it really wasn't until 2018 and coming home to myself through song and
Mm.
through women in ceremony together with the earth and the fire and the water and song only as the primary medicines, and movement and dance and breath and tears and laughter and fire and water, like that is where my return came, um, because I felt seen on the soul level, the part of us that doesn't change, as
Mm.
I've been talking about, we change so much and all of these parts of us change. And I believe that what motherhood has the potential to do is like comb and clear, like shake all that off, like I said, turn you upside down and shake you and let you release all that isn't sanctioned to you at source, that isn't your soul. All the things you believed about yourself, all the limitations you held, all the um, stories that
Yeah.
you may believe are really, really true, and that I did about myself, that need to be released so that I can stand proudly and strongly and vertically with like a strong spine and loose hips in that gateway. Yeah.
Yeah. Just bringing in the naming of these incredible soul friends
Mhm.
that help with the return. So, Gabrielle, who was on the previous podcast episode, who is
Mhm.
another dear friend too, that woven in with Rhea. And then I know Rhea also gleaned so much from the ritual of fire and water and song and brought that back to our community here.
Mhm.
And so the potency of ritual and remembering what's already there. And I loved, and I would love to hear in your own words what inner hum
Mm.
means and how you came up with that for your website.
Well, you're gonna love this. But before I say that, I also wanna honor my mentor, Madi Sato, who
Mm.
founded Praising Earth, where Gabrielle and I went, and where Rhea, it's the first time I met Rhea, was there in that
Oh, right.
community. Um, and while I'm no longer weaving intimately with that community, I'm very, very grateful for the remembrance that happened while I was there for 6 years, really weaving deeply with that community. So, um, so the inner hum came. I had a dream in 2010.
Whoa.
A dream, very simple dream. There was a business card on a table that on one side just said one word, inner hum, and had a butterfly. And on the other side, it had my name.
That's amazing.
That's it. So when I woke up from the dream, I Googled inner hum, nothing. There was nothing. Like, of course. I mean, like, which I was newer to, like, working with my dreams. I've been
Yeah.
singing my whole life, but, like, working with my dreams, I was like, "Oh, what's out there?" I did find inner Hun, which is it's a Chinese medicine principle, but I was like, that it wasn't Hun, it was hum, inner hum. And I have just literally been with that for 16 years now,
Wow.
asking, "What does this mean? What is inner hum? What is inner hum? What is inner hum?" And then I didn't really find my path again in the world of song. That thread didn't come on strongly until 2018, for 8 more years. So, I and all my life I've been receiving songs as a little girl. I would receive them all the time and record them in my boombox in my bathroom and, like, sing songs in the pool like, I remember being in this, like, pool, and it was all the water had been drained out, but, like, the acoustics and being in my parents' shower and, like, these songs would come in, but nobody was like, "These songs are medicine. Keep singing them. Let's sing them together." It's just like, "Oh, whatever." So
Oh.
I didn't know to value them. I didn't
Mm.
wanna be a singer, like a famous singer. I was just like, "I just wanna sing, y'all." But I didn't have models of what that could look like other than, like, a profession in some strange, like, niche, boxed in way, and your voice has to sound like this. So being able to, um, sing again so freely and really connect with my voice and how it moves through my body and using song as this not using it, being in relationship with song. What something I've learned from song mentors is songs are beings. They are living beings and they move through everything. And so when I sing a song about the water that came from the water, I'm calling that energy into myself. And so as a mother, when I feel overwhelmed by the chaos of my life and I need to like center myself, I can sing a song that can hold me because
Mm.
that vibration, the inner hum, you know, that is to me what the inner hum is the soul voice inside each one of us that gets activated through practice and through initiations of life. And when we are with that inner hum, it like our heart field starts expanding out and that becomes, the field holding us is our
Yeah.
own heart field. But it gets we get support from these song beings.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful to see this thread with Savannah too, and what she's shared from her connection with song,
Mhm.
who is another was the first podcast episode, but
Mhm.
I say the sound of the soul. And then I hear you say this, and then I love this moment we both had of we both received the same song almost exactly,
Yeah.
which is so
Yeah.
cool just to
Yeah.
back to, like, letting go of the mind and the ego
Mhm.
of trusting these as living beings, and that song that we both received was about water and thinking water, and, so I just wanted to bring that presence in of something that can be healing for especially women, and we're in a culture that we're hopefully unraveling from of competition, comparing ourselves,
Mhm.
and that conditioning into, like, when we are in that place of receiving and listening to our inner hum, and then also listening to the elements
Mhm.
and listening to all the other more than human kin communicating, like that spider on your shoulder,
Mhm. Mhm.
then there's just infinite creativity,
Mhm.
and then we can celebrate that in each other, and so I think it could be fun if we mention this water song, and then I would love t at some point to hear your spider song too.
Yeah.
But I'll just share how I picked up this song when I was bathing Finn after he was born,
Mm.
2021,
Mm.
and I was just thanking the water.
Mhm.
It was that simple, and then I wove that into her waters,
Mhm.
into the waters course that I did online, and then, um, it just continued to take shape as thinking the different types of bodies of water.
Mm.
And then I heard you sing and it was just like, "Whoa, this is so." I love the different octave that you bring in the middle and a little different lyric, but it's the same song.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that, and I love that you're bathing Fen, um, because that's it right there.
Yeah.
Another part that motherhood offers us is presence and
Mm,
so much gratitude and so much love, like being bathing your baby and being with this being who's you're so connected to on this level that you've never been connected with anyone else before.
yeah.
Like, it's such a different relationship than and it's, like, so sensual and sexual, and it's your child, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like your
Yeah.
whole body is just like, "Ah, this is" like, the mammalian lit up, and also, yeah, it's just so I can't even it's beyond words to describe it.
Yeah.
And so I love that this song came in there, and I heard it in 2024. So 3 years later, Kyle and
Oh,
I pray together in the mornings, and what I mean by pray is, like, we go outside and we're like, "Yay, thank you, trees and sky and earth," and giving thanks for everything that is here and sometimes, lifting up prayers for people who are ill or had died or are suffering or new babies being born or um, for the waters or for the birds or for the war or whatever is happening and we were every at the end of that every morning we come together and we hold the water, this beautiful bowl, mica filled clay bowl that came from this woman Lisa in Tucson who made it. It's like a pinch bowl,
oh,
and it has
great.
sparkly mica in it, and so we call it Lisa, and we, like, hold Lisa like this together, and I the song just started coming through, and then it came again the next day, and then it came again and again and again, and then I was like, "This is so sweet. This is such a sweet little song," and it's so simple, you know?
So simple.
It's not like my mind could have been like, "That's not even a song, that's just whatever." It's not even a song. It's too simple, too simple. But and then I'm not what I'm not remembering is, like, how did we find out that because it was
I
before
think
we were in person together.
I think it was in our dream council,
Oh.
and I think you sang it, and I was like, "Whoa!" Or maybe it was one of the video or audio recordings, and I was like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
"Did you did you hear me sing that?" And it was just this funny, sweet moment of like, "That's so cool."
yeah.
But and then just the awe of the field, the conscious field
Mhm.
that we could also have another thread on of the quantum, the
Yes.
fascia, the plasma that is the the different wavelengths traveling through the waters
Yeah, through the waters.
and through dreams.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm even, we can sing it here. am recovering from this cold and I could also edit in our sweet video because then when we got in person finally last summer. Was it summer?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Last in July.
I got to meet your sweet family, Gideon, or part of your family, Gideon and Kyle.
Mhm.
And we went to the spring and sang that song together,
Mm.
which was just felt so right.
It's so magical. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would love for people to hear that recording in particular because it also has the waters in the background. I mean, even though I'd love to
Great.
sing it, I also don't know how we will sing together, like
Exactly. It could be really echoey and not the thing that sounds so
like,
as you can see, I'm like,
good, and everyone's like,
I'm all like coughing up, like, thank you, water. It's just, we've been laughing like Christian and I tried, tried to sing to the land at Brighton Bush, and we both just sounded so like we'd been smoking cartons our whole life, and we were just laughing. But that inner hum is still there beneath it.
It is, it is.
So then maybe if it feels like a yes for this moment, or at some point you can sing your spider song.
Yeah. Yeah, there was something before that there was something you said, but it may have, as the threads do, um, me with my
Yeah.
postpartum brain and you with your pregnant brain. I don't know what was happening, I don't know. Yeah, I'll sing it and we'll see where it goes from there. And I
Great.
I envision one day there being a fiddle and it's like the clapping and I would love to hear it sometime and in that way. Okay. Here we go, a weaving, a weaving, a weaving. Here we go, a weaving the wonders of this world. Here we go, a weaving, a weaving, a weaving. Here we go, a weaving the wonders of this world. All the sacred strands we hold within our hands to make anew this world of form. Right here, right now we stand. Here we go, a weaving, a weaving, a weaving. Here we go, a weaving the wonders of this world. Here we go, a weaving, a weaving, a weaving. Here we go, a weaving the wonders of this world. With spider threads of silver, purple, red, and gold, we'll recreate this tapestry, such beauty to behold. Here we go, weaving, a weaving, a weaving. Here we go, weaving the wonders of this world. Here we go, weaving, a weaving, a weaving. Here we go, weaving the wonders of this world. When we unite together, our strings reshape the light, our hearts reweave the fabric of all of life and beyond. Here we go, a weaving, a weaving, a weaving. Here we go, a weaving the wonders of this world. Here we go, a weaving, a weaving, a weaving. Here we go, a weaving the wonders of this world. Here we go, a weaving, a weaving, a weaving. Here we go, weaving the wonders of this world. Mm.
Wow. Mm.
Mm.
Mhm.
So I'm
Wow.
remembering that thread and the spider. That song did not come from me. That song came from this tiny spider, but it like got translated through my brain, like into English and the words. But the melody, that melody in the song, it's like it's not I didn't sit down and like, I'm gonna make this song. It came at one download, like in like 5 minutes. The whole thing just like came in. And that's that part about what is creativity really, and
Mm.
where do these being they come through us like our children, not from us. They come through
Mhm.
us, not from us. And many of them are songs or creations that are of our souls too.
Right.
It's like when we're in that soul family, it's like, oh, that same thread. There it is.
It's just so beautiful. I see the fiddle and the dancing and the, like, merriment all together. It's
Yes, I
yes.
know. I can see it. Yeah.
Wow. And so is there a like, have you noticed through I just love imagining little Kate receiving songs and being in the empty pool and, it just so it seems to be very much in your nature. But have you noticed, is there a certain way or state that you're in to receive the songs?
Yes, well, number 1, in a receptive state. I've received a beautiful song, one of my other favorite songs. Like, most of the songs I receive are very simple, like the water song, and they're repeatable so that we can sing them in community. That one's with
Yeah.
verses, and it's more complicated, and I've received a few of those, but only, like, 4 ever of those, like, more complicated, and one of them came in a shower in the water. So I was talking
Mm.
about being in an empty pool when I was a child, but it's a vessel that's held water for years, and, like, the waters were still there. Water, being around water, in water, maybe it's the water itself or the negative ions from the flowing water, or sometimes it's being in usually it's when I'm immersed in nature, but I have also received them driving in my car down the highway. Like, you don't have to be in some pristine or serene environment meditating and waiting to receive a song. You can be bathing your baby or washing dishes or doing the laundry or driving to school. Or I received this beautiful walking song when I used to walk my kids to school every day, and
Mm.
on the way home I just like, "Oop, here it comes," and
Mm.
I sang it the whole way home. I didn't have my phone or recording device with me, so I just sang it and sang it and sang it and sang it until I got home, and then sang it and sang it and sang it. Um, and so part of I think the thing to say is that, 1, believing you can receive songs is very important, and
Yeah.
2, listening, it's subtle. A little melody comes in, it's really easy to ignore that. For some people, they receive the melody first. Sometimes I receive a melody first, and then words come. Sometimes no words come. Sometimes words come first. There's no, like, formula for that, how the song comes in, but it is you do have to be in kind of a receptive state, and we talked a little bit about brainwaves, and I loved Stephanie's talk about brainwaves, and I think all of your guests have touched and will touch on that because it's so much of what you practice and what you believe and know to be true. Um, but yeah, being in a different brainwave, I don't think I'm receiving many songs being in beta. So
Mhm.
and this one song that's the most been the most powerful medicine for me this last year is called Her Body,
Mm.
and, I received it driving down the road and feeling the stress of cars just, like, pushing me from behind, and it actually came through in this, like, laughing, emotive state where I was just like, I wanna move at the pace that my body wants to move, like, and I was like, and then I just started singing it. I started singing that, and I was like, "I want to move at the pace that my body can move. Ooh." And then
So
just
good.
the whole then I got home and I was like, "Oh, I want to move at the pace that my body can move." Whoa. Like, it was very playful, and then like, that whole song, it took about 2 days for that one to come in, but it started with this funny, kinda joking, playing with the energy of what was happening in my body and my mind and, like, in my environment, and then it was like, "Oh, I can make this a song," you know?
Brilliant. That is such a great way of like, weaving from what is,
Mhm.
and then the magic of the alchemy.
Yeah, yeah,
I love that because you live in more of an urban setting right now,
I do.
so you probably have a lot of opportunity
A lot of opportunity.
to weave
Mhm.
the subtle when it can be more loud.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. Yeah, I live in Austin, Texas, and I live as far as I can, like, away from the city, but still I'm in the city, and Kyle and I call it we live on the Welt, which means the place between the woods and the urban. So we have woods right behind our home, and when I look out right now, all I see is trees, and
Mm.
yet I'm, like, accessible in the city, and for the work I do and the community that I'm cultivating here right now, it's a sanctuary, and then
Yeah.
I have to drive a lot for my job for my work, to go and be with mothers in their homes, so sometimes I'm driving 35, 40 minutes on big highways, and, like, how do I need to arrive in their homes and in my home in a regulated state.
Yeah.
So how do I do that? I sing a lot
You
in the
sing a
car
song.
a lot. I sing a lot. And I'm able
Wow.
to arrive, like, relaxed most of the time, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful. As I'm getting older, I'm like, "I wish I didn't have so many opportunities for having to regulate myself." I want that to be easier, but this is where I am right now.
Yeah. Well, I hope for everyone listening that it's just that inspiration of a tool
Mhm.
that's available
Yeah.
just to move the voice and move with the energy of what's around and then being then that because that to me weaving into like okay the coming into a frequency of regulating our own nervous system, co-regulating, and when there's times where we can feel things that are not in our hands, that is available. So it's very inspiring. I love that example of in the car.
Yeah.
It's so good. There's another thread that we could weave in if we want to around um being 42
Mhm.
and having the label
Mhm.
that I'm currently 42
Mhm.
and pregnant
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
what the main medical system would label
Geriatric.
me as geriatric. And so that even like I guess weaving it into that is like, okay, here's this frequency that could be coming from the field of what is being placed onto my body into the expectation. And then how can I like weave and move and having other examples like yourself. And there's many other mamas here in the gorge who have been also 42. There's been this fascinating theme of the number 42.
Mhm.
I think it might be from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy because it's the answer to
Oh.
everything. I don't know. But, any threads we wanna bring in
Mhm,
with 42 and
mm,
like, the name geriatric and reclaiming.
mhm. Yeah, oh gosh. Yeah. There's so much there. Our society says after 35, 35, you're a geriatric, like, at 35, right? Um, and I had all my 3 before 35, and some part of me was like, "Woo, just missed that," barely. And then to approach this last threshold of becoming pregnant again, because I did not think I would have another child, and then I met Kyle, and that's a whole amazing story of Gideon's conception and my
Mm.
surrender to being like, "Okay, I hear you, I don't want that, but I hear you. Okay, okay, yes, okay, okay." Um, and and then having to face the labels in our society. I think one of my relatives, when I told them I was pregnant, immediately jumped to, um, "Well, are you gonna get tested for Down syndrome? Are you gonna, like, have?" Because I know you didn't do that you didn't do any tests or ultrasounds or anything before, but, like, I think you should, like, it's dangerous now," was the message I was receiving, like, immediately from a close relative, and I just had to laugh at it, like, "Okay, I hear you. I hear what you believe, and I hear that that's not I'm also here to tell you that's not what I believe, and no, I'm not going to do that, and you are gonna have to deal with your anxiety about me not doing that." Um, I am personally someone what has always felt right to me is I don't do tests, I don't like to find out the gender, I don't want to really know unless there was an issue or something came up. But I do believe it is something that each woman has to consciously move through in her own way. I'm really curious how that's landing for you, um, right now, because that's really
Mm.
present for you.
Yeah. I feel like I went through the initiation with my first pregnancy because I was 37,
Mhm.
and so I feel like that prepared me for this one to be it's so easeful because that was my first one.
Mhm.
We were working with midwives who then,
Mhm.
um, dropped us mid-pregnancy because I was getting abnormal blood pressure readings, but what was happening was I was having white coat syndrome,
Mhm.
and my heart rate would change, and then I would like, between the arms, I would have different readings, and so I brought that to their attention, and then I got a yeah, so that just led down this whole other trajectory of fear.
Mhm.
Um, they thought there could be some underlying causes and preeclampsia, that whole thing,
Yeah.
and so then pushed us to the hospital, like, you know, and then, um, we I noticed that my blood pressure was fine at home, and we even went to the hospital and had my blood pressure over time monitored, and it was fine. But since that was the mark, every single time we went to go meet anyone at the hospital, they were saying the same script of, "You need to get induced at 37 weeks." And so there was one moment, I just remember this defining sovereign moment of walking out and being like, "Enough. I'm not doing this. I will go have this baby in the woods by myself." And then sweet Christian was like, "Can we
What?
find maybe, like, a little middle ground?" And I was like, "Okay." And we found a midwife to work with us at home,
Mhm.
and, I didn't have high blood pressure problems, I did not have preeclampsia, I did not get induced at 37 weeks. I had my dream birth because I had a dream about the birth
Mhm.
2 years before, and the midwives weren't even there. So, they came after and was born.
Yeah.
And so that I feel like prepared me for this one where I've had all the script, I've had all the fears, and,
Mhm.
this one has felt just I'm I'm listening to my dreams, and I've been getting dreams of how the birth is gonna be, and that's what's informing me.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wanna speak to those who may be listening who are considering being pregnant, maybe even for the first time. As you said, it is more challenging to do it for the first time
Yeah.
and be beyond that age that it's like this it's incredible how they treat you differently just with that 1 year. Like, it's like this flag goes up, you know? And we're still cycling. Women, as long as you are ovulating, you can have a baby. You are fertile, like, and
Yeah.
I it's why it is so important to work with someone you feel really comfortable with, who can meet you where you are and hold all of that with you. You know, if whether that's your partner, whether that's a midwife or a doula or a friend, um, but I do think it is something that we have to move through collectively.
Yeah.
And then individually in whatever way. And so my prayer for those listening is that you find one person or a few people who mirror back to you that you're okay. Like, this is okay.
Yeah.
This is okay. You are well. Everything is well. You're okay. Unless it's not. But
Right.
if you are listening to your body, you trust your body, you know if something's not right.
Yeah.
We're not gonna, I had all home births with my children, and I would have done something different if I had needed to, right?
Yeah.
I would have been
Exactly.
listening. Yeah,
No,
there's
I'm glad you're bringing that in because the what I've I'm not speaking from as much experience, just my own direct experience, but what I've observed with whether it's my sister or other women, what seems to be the most important is whatever will allow
Mhm.
the birthing person's body to feel safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that can look like going into the hospital. That can be safety for a certain birthing person's nervous system, a mother's nervous system. For me, it was opposite, and that's what I was seeing. I was like, "Oh, by going, my safety doesn't feel it's not being, soothed here. My blood pressure is responding to that." So that's what I was listening to. So I love that. It's like each one of us to go through and to have that person to be able to talk to reflect back,
Mhm.
and then to be able to listen to that inner hum.
Mhm.
Like, that inner hum is gonna be there during birth,
Yeah.
and as our beloved mutual sister Rhea told me before my first birth, she's like, "Yes, you're gonna be doing this on your own because there's no one else that can go through this. Like, it's you and the water will be there. The water's in our body, the unseen support, the spirit of the baby too, all of that co-creating, and so whatever allows that listening
Mhm.
to happen, I've noticed I don't know what you've seen, but just that safety piece seems so important,
It's
right?
essential. Essential. Yeah, I'm hearing it too on the other side of birth in postpartum, and some mothers feel safest when their baby is just sleeping right here on their chest and they just stay right on their bodies. Some mothers cannot rest when their babies are on their bodies. Their like nervous systems are too heightened to rest. so it's like getting out of, like, the judgment of how something looks or the form that it needs to take, and going with, like, your body is saying, "I don't feel safe here. I feel
Mhm.
nervous." And I am a similar place. I like all the lights. I'm very light sensitive, and, I don't even I've attended many births in hospitals, and I have no idea how women can birth there, like, personally. It's not an environment where I feel like I can relax, and some women would not be able to relax being at home.
Right.
And sometimes you're like, "Oh, the vision," like, I wanted my children to be at my birth, and I was like, "Oh, it'd be amazing for my daughter to be there." But when it came down to it, she didn't I remember she came in she came in while I was in labor, and she was just like so afraid of everything going on, and when I realized, like, I can't have that energy in my space, and when
Yeah.
I finally told her. I remember Gabriella being there as well, and we were talking with Rosalie, and finally we're like, "You don't have to be here, you can go," and she was like, "Oh, thank God." So, like, and it was like, and then the minute my children all left, my labor, like, really started. My body
Wow.
stalled, and personally, I've noticed I had another in one of my other labors, I had all these friends who I invited to come and be at my labor, and I thought it would be so beautiful, and they brought candles, and my labor just stalled. Like, it would not progress until I talked with my midwife, and I'm like, "I'm gonna have to ask these people to leave, like, I can't."
Yeah.
The moment, I kid you not, the moment I heard the door close, my uterus went boom, 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 like, labor immediately my body does not go through that process. It's not a public event for me. And some
Yeah.
women, they birth with, like, 10 people in the room, and, like, it's a party, and that's beautiful for them, But it does come down to, like, it's not something we can pretend. It's what I
Mm-mm.
feel safe with on the biological primal level.
Yeah. I love that because it comes back to, like, not being in the mind at all.
Yeah.
Like, what an initiation of this deeper instinctual communication and the ideas around what it could look like, and then the initiation
Oh,
toward matriarchy
mhm.
of holding that of don't take it personal. Anybody else out there, like, this is what is needed. I'm here to receive and not manage everybody else in this moment because that cannot happen. That can disturb or interrupt,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
my mother, who I love very much and maybe listening to this later, I invited her to my first birth, never having gone through it, and she had 3 cesareans, and her mother had had a cesarean, and I actually didn't know if I could birth naturally, and that was one of my biggest fears moving into the birth was, like, maybe my pelvis is too small, or maybe my body's just not made that way, and I didn't know, right? And my mom was there, and she was so nervous, and she was, like, blending things, meow, 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 in the kitchen, and I was in this little apartment. It was a one-bedroom apartment, and she was making garlic, and it was just, and then, like, at one point, she came over to me, and she was just like, "I'm so sorry you're in pain. I wish I could take it away." And I was like, "I can't I can't manage your anxiety right now." And I asked my doula, who is my good friend, to ask my mom. I'm like, "I have to ask you to ask my mom to leave." And she was like, "Really?" Like, "Oh, okay. I'll do that for you." Like, "That's why I'm here." I'm like, "That's why you're here." And it's something my mom and I have worked through now,
Yeah.
but it's like the body doesn't lie,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna open if there's any energy in the space that doesn't feel safe
Yeah.
to the mother. And that's also true in postpartum.
Mm.
It's just we're not having to birth a baby, we're birthing ourselves.
Wow, right. Mm, such wisdom. I mean, yeah, just for anyone listening that has been to births or invited to births or gonna birth, just the more we can normalize and bring in awareness around the birth space and then the postpartum space. And like what you said a while back of like the opening up to the lineage work,
Woo.
it's like becoming it just feels like as a, you know, as my own experience now holding this one, different clearing of the lineage is here and being vulnerable to that. But then at the same time, the call to be sovereign, to hold that knowing in the mystery, which sounds paradoxical, but it's like that knowing of only I and this one will know what our birth is supposed to look like. And if I'm so concerned about the conditioning of people pleasing, or that's this that I, like from my first experience of like, wow, I'm so blessed because I've had so many amazing uh, support people around me like Rhea who were there to say, if there was really something going on with your organs failing, we can find out. So I just want to name that, like, I felt very blessed to have a community to check those fears that were planted into my pregnant mind from well-meaning midwives. But then for so many that may not have those practices of discernment, and then those little things are when we start to give our authority over. And then any moment is when we can claim it back. It's like, wait, can I come back into what is true? What I know, what can I come back into trusting my intuition and that instinct? Um, and so just I'm so inspired talking with you, Kate, because this just feels very like a blessing for me in this pregnancy portal, the reminders, because have had dreams where it's like, no, I'm just in a nest and I'm very much in my own space for this one. And there's people on the periphery. Um, and then just that if I went into old conditioning of being concerned of anyone feeling left out or any of that stuff that can be that's the I feel like maturing too into what you were mentioning of with that beautiful example of letting the community organize, self-organize out there in the beauty of the clothing swap. And you're not having to contort your position of where you really are to anybody. And then the beauty that happens.
Yeah, it's one reflection I get a lot from my community is the way I am the leader of the community in the sense that I like organize it, I communicate, I people come to me. There's like a, it's not a community led event. That the circles, and yet I always just show up how I am. Like I am learning how to show up how I am. Sometimes that means I didn't sleep very much. Sometimes that means I'm feeling there's something going on with one of my kids, or there's something going on with my parents, or there's, but I'm very real. I don't feel like I have to show up with a facade of, and birth really has taught me that how those facades don't fit through that eye of the needle. Birth is an eye of the needle moment. The portal, the door is like Alice in Wonderland. Like you're like, wait, how I have to get like really big, but also like really tiny to like go through. I can't take any of that shit with me. The like
Yeah.
what other people think, trying to please others. Literally I won't be able to go through the door. Right. And
Yeah.
I feel like those happen all the time in life, whether we've are giving birth or not, we're always there are these moments, whether they're like astrological doorways or they're a death of a loved one or the loss of a relationship or, these initiations that are doorways through
Mm.
into leaving one thing behind and going into something else. And at those moments, we must shed the layers like the snake, will squeeze between the tiniest hole to help take that coat off. And so in the birth in particular, specifically, I love having midwives there personally that I know I can relax with, or a midwife. There's an incredible midwife here in Austin named GB Kalsa, who's been a midwife since 1984 here in Austin.
Wow.
And she was my midwife with Gideon and Gabriel. So 9 years apart. And I have the privilege to continue weaving with her as a colleague in the field of postpartum work and birth. But having her there, it's like she's there, but she's not there. And she knows how the art of like sitting back knitting
Mhm.
and letting the mom do whatever she needs. But the moment that, like in my birth with Gabriel, I was in birthing in the water. And then suddenly I was like, I have to get out. I have to get out of the water. And she had already set up a whole birth station in the bedroom. Like, how did she know? Like, it was already like, it was right there, and then but it was so her energy was non-intrusive, and those are the qualities for me that I want people in my birthing space, in my postpartum space, in a grieving space. It's like, don't make it about you being a
Mm.
savior of the person in need. Don't impose your energy onto them or try to control or manipulate, which is a lot of what the medical system teaches people to orient. Like, they have the knowledge, this person doesn't understand what's
Mm.
happening. We have the machines, we have the data, we have the information. They don't get it. We're going to impose our will on that person because they don't know and it's for their own good. And it's a lot like our educational systems as well. The word education, which I also learned from Michael Mead, educare means to draw out from someone what is already within them. Does
Mm.
not mean to have people memorize and, you know, stuff
Right.
information into their throats and minds. It means draw out. And so in the birth space, birth workers who help draw the mother out and in to herself. And in the postpartum space, I feel the most important qualities, when anyone listening who's like, oh, I want to work with a postpartum doula or I want to have community come and be in my space. It's like, who are the people you do not feel you have to go out of yourself to entertain? You do not have to move out of your center, but who allow you to go deeper into your own experience, into your own body, who relax in where you feel held and you feel safe. So coming back to
Mm.
safety again. We can't go in unless we feel safe because we're like our energy is out and we're defending and we're here and we're tending all the things. But when we feel safe, we can let all that go and we can really journey in. And that comes to another song, which also came in 2019 and is called The Well of the Mother and
Mm.
has been the guiding light for me in my work with mothers and my work as a mother, my embodiment of being a mother and how I want to live as a mother. And it says, it talks about the well that lives inside of us. And I believe that so deeply and I know that to be true that within each one of us is a well of
Mhm.
wisdom, of love, of trust, of healing, of regeneration, of energy, life force energy. And we have the possibility in birth and postpartum to tap into that well so that seed cracks open and we actually like are in the well. We're in the well. We're and that's it's underground, it's the underworld, it's not the surface reality, it is underworld, it's the mother world. But it's the well where we all come from. So
Mhm. Wow, Kate. Well, that would just be the most beautiful if you want to share that song, way to just, for now, complete this conversation, which I know we all hope I want to pick up these threads in another time
Mhm.
because there's so much richness here, and, um, yeah, if that feels like a yes to you. But before then, if there's anything that is that you wanna share with anyone listening, that in addition to your, I'll have your information on the show in the show notes, but anything, for listeners for how they could work with you or anything coming up that you wanna share before closing with this beautiful song?
Well, I'm not sure when exactly the this will come out, but I do have a program that I did live in the spring last year that was called The Well of the Mother, and I'm wanting
Mm.
to put that online. And I'm just calling in the support and the the focus time to do that. And that is a learning the sacred arts of mothering. And these are all arts I received in the middle of the night. Well, I mean, I received them throughout the years of mothering, but the culmination of and the articulation of the arts I received kind of between the worlds in the night last winter, not 2025, but 2024, and wrote it all down. And like over the course of a couple of weeks, these all these arts came into my awareness. And so I shared that in a live offering last spring, and I'm looking and listening for how to bring that out into the world again. And I'm hoping to do it at least one version of that online so that more people can have access to it because I believe it's really important information to share. I haven't done a lot online. I haven't done a lot online, and so it's an edge for me, which is great. And just that will and then I'm teaching some postpartum workshops here in Austin that are called Dig the Well, and those will be coming up. I'll do one in April, and then I have one in June. But those are not up on my website yet. And then the Mama the circles here in Austin. I'm doing the Mama Baby song circles here in Austin and offer postpartum care here in Austin. And I also do one-on-one calls. So if people are like, "Oh, I'd love to work with you, but I have a 5-year-old or I have a 10-year-old or I live in Canada," or um, I do virtual sessions that are working through these themes together that are called Well Mother sessions, and those are on my website. And I also offer song mentorship. So if
Oh,
your
beautiful.
people are wanting to connect with song and feel they're not a singer and really want to like go more deeply into the opening of that channel for themselves, I'm beginning to do those. And then we're doing a starting at the end of April, the community here that was Song Carriers is creating an offering called Song Weavers. And
Mm.
I'm supporting in that, but was very clear that it it I don't want it to be just me facilitating again. It's a different offering of weaving in the skills and the leadership of multiple people. And I'm really looking forward to beginning that mm, this late spring. Yeah. And I'll be at Spirit Weavers in June.
Amazing. Are you offering there
I
too?
am. Yeah, I'm doing a workshop about song as threshold or threshold songs, receiving songs for crossing threshold.
Oh my gosh.
I
If
wish
I
you could
wasn't
be
gonna
there.
be birthing, like, that's right in the time that this one's coming.
Yes, it is.
Maybe I should just come and then we sing while I'm good. No. Songs in the threshold right now.
Yeah, yeah. You'll be singing
But
your
I'm
songs in the threshold already.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. Oh, it sounds like there's just so many beautiful threads that are happening in Austin.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening that are in the Austin area, and I'm gonna keep inviting you here to the gorge
Yeah.
to make that connection with the women
I love that.
and the beings here.
Yes.
And again, thank you for this really potent weaving today.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that you're in my life
Mm.
and to learn more through this conversation, these stories you've shared that are very much landing into my heart and my womb at this time. And thank you. Thank you.
It's such an honor, and especially during this time when you are such an open portal and, blossoming into this new phase of your life. And I intend that this conversation has blessed you and your family, precious family, very deeply, and the birthing time and your evolution as a mother of two. And so I'm so grateful to know you and to be here today with you.
Oh, I love you. So good.
Thank you,
It's so
Rhea. Thank you, Gabriella.
Thank you, Gabriella and Rhea. I know. Just the continued weaving.
Mhm. Yeah. Here we go, weaving the wonders of the world. Okay, so we can close with the song "The Well of the Mother,"
Oh,
and
yes.
I want to just share because it's important to share a bit of the origin story. This song came when I was in Santa Fe. I was staying in a Airbnb with Gabriella, and we had gone to see this beautiful Irish grandmother, Noreen Ryan, speak for the weekend. And it was snowing and it was magical. And like the whole time, I think the whole time she was talking and singing, I was just crying. Like there were just tears coming down my face. And they weren't connected to a thought or an emotion. They were just my eyes were weeping because it was so impactful and like ancestral and beyond understanding. You know,
Mm,
I still don't fully comprehend why. And yet then we were leaving the next morning and I was in the shower and this song just went like through the shower head, like through the waters. It just came in and I couldn't sing it without crying for a long time.
mm,
So yeah, this
mm.
is a medicine. May it be good medicine for all who receive it. The well of the mother. When I was a lass, I would call on the mother, asking for her to hold my hand. And she would, and I knew we would always be together here in the well of the mother. And now that I am grown, I still call on the mother when I feel afraid or alone. And she flies to my side and she whispers in my heart that I am a daughter of the well. So come round, my sisters, and I'll sing you a story. And may you recall it in your heart. For inside of yourself lives the most beautiful treasure. Here is the well of the mother. For inside of your heart lives the most beautiful treasure. Here is the well of the mother, And you are the well of the mother, and I am the well of the mother, and we are the well of the mother.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Wow. Yeah. No words, just tears.
Thank you, Em. Thank you, Waters.
Thank you, Waters.
Thank you, Mother.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you to the well, the Mother. Thank you, Kate.